okay?
Yeah, we're good to go, yeah.
All right, thanks. All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is a hearing for the Committee of Adjustment for the Town of Grimsby. I'm just going to first introduce the committee members and staff. So committee members in attendance this evening are Adam Mottershead to my left, Dan Collins to my right, Dylan Bailey online, and Fabia Billing also to my far right, and myself, Kevin Antonias, as chair. Oh, okay. Staff members present this evening are Walter Basic, Assistant Director of Planning here in the room, and Dilhara Aberwardine to my left, the Administrative Coordinator. Just to make a brief announcement regarding live streaming. Members of the public are advised that our meetings are live streamed by the Town of Grimsby. Individuals and media may be audibly and or visually recorded during this meeting. As a reminder, all electronic devices are to be in silent mode during our committee meeting. Regarding the overview of the meeting procedures, the purpose of the application and any relevant correspondence will be heard, following which the applicant will be given an opportunity to address the application. Any person concerned with the application will then be given an opportunity to speak. At the conclusion of the discussion, the committee will render a decision and advise of any applicable conditions. Copies of the decisions will be mailed to the applicant or agent, and or any other person who files a written request. To do so, please email Dilhara, Secretary-Treasurer at coa@grimsby.ca. The applicant, the Town of Grimsby, the minister, or a specified person or public body has the right to appeal either the decision itself or conditions of consent to the OLT, Ontario Land Tribunal, within 20 days of the date of giving of notice under subsection 17 for consent, and also 20 days for a date of decision for a minor variance application. Specified persons and certain public bodies include public utilities, but do not include an individual or community association. So everyone present will be given an opportunity to speak to the application. Please address your comments and questions through the chair. Each participant will be provided 5 minutes to speak. Each participant may speak only once unless asked. If you hear your comments presented by someone else, please do not duplicate the remarks. When you're called, we ask that you state your name and address for the record. Agencies commenting on applications may request certain conditions be imposed, but voicing objections to these conditions will not adversely affect the committee's decision. All members of the committee have viewed the properties on the agenda tonight and are familiar with the lands that are subject to the applications. So any pecuniary interest, if I can ask any of the members have a pecuniary interest in the matters before us tonight? No, and neither do I. We have 0 requests for withdrawal or adjournment, although we do have a request for deferral. We'll deal with that when you get to the agenda. First, I have a motion moved by Dan Collins, seconded by Adam Mottershead, regarding the resolve that the minutes of the meeting held March 19th, 2024 be approved. Any further discussion on that? No. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, if any? Thank you. And then we've got 4 applications before us this evening, but as mentioned, we do have a request for a deferral for the first one, A1124, number 35 Victoria Terrace. So do we have a mover and a seconder on this request to defer? Adam, second by Dan. Any further discussion on the request for deferral? No? All those in favor say aye or raise your hand. Opposed, if any, was carried. So that one will be deferred, I assume, to the next meeting next month?
Yeah.
As far as we know? Okay. Hopefully nobody showed up for that one. Oops, that is deferral. All right, so the first application then that we're going to hear tonight is A0224, number 2 6th Street. So I'll have Dilhara go through the application and any correspondence that we've received. Dilhara?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me share my screen. So the purpose of this application is to facilitate the construction of a new 2-story single detached dwelling to permit a maximum lot coverage of 41%, whereas 30% is permitted, to permit a minimum interior side yard of 1.21 meters for the south interior side yard, whereas 1.8 meters is required, to permit a minimum rear yard setback of 1.28 meters, whereas minimum rear yard setback of 3.825 meters, or a 25% of lot depth is required. To permit a yard encroachment of unenclosed covered porch of 1 meters into north interior side yard, whereas unenclosed covered porches may project into any required interior side yard of not more than 0 meters. And this is an image of the site plan that was circulated with the notice of hearing as well. This is an image of the neighborhood for context. These are the current conditions in site. And these are the agencies that provided comments, and I will summarize those comments for you now. Planning staff are supportive of the application. It meets the intent of the official plan and the zoning bylaw. It is desirable for the development and use of the land and is considered minor in nature. They have a single condition. The applicant receive approval from the NPCA in the form of an NPCA works permit for the proposed dwelling. Heritage staff are supportive of the application. The proposed 2-story single detached dwelling is compatible with, subordinate to, and distinguishable from the adjacent heritage resource. The proposed dwelling does not result in any adverse impacts to adjacent cultural heritage identified within the immediate or larger Grimsby Beach area. Staff have also concluded that the proposed development has been prepared in accordance with the Grimsby Beach secondary plan policies, and note that the proposed development is in conformity with the urban design and heritage guidelines for the Grimsby Beach area. Public Works has one comment. Public Works staff note that the 1993 encroachment agreement for the previous owners is now null and void due to the house being demolished. Based on the following clause, the town allows the owners and their successors in title from time to time as the registered owners of the lands described in Schedule A attached hereto, the privilege of maintaining and using the said single-family dwelling together with their encroachments on that part of Victoria Terrace, as shown in Schedule C attached hereto, until such time as the building is demolished, removed, destroyed by fire or otherwise. The town shall not be obligated to provide any shoreline protection work for Victoria Terrace, a result of granting said encroachment. They also have 3 conditions, and I will read those conditions now. Condition number 1, town staff will require the applicant to get into an encroachment agreement with the town for the house foundation and a portion of the dwelling that are currently encroaching into town lands. My mistake. Sorry, that is not one of the conditions for 26th Street. I apologize. So condition number 1 for 26th Street is the condition from the planning staff, which is that they receive approval from the NPCA for the proposed dwelling. The Public Works condition number 1 is town staff will require a site servicing plan showing both the existing and proposed site services for water and sanitary. The plan is to include location, size, material, inverts, etc. from the municipal main to the building face for all services. If existing services are proposed to be reused, an inspection by town staff shall be completed to ensure the services meet current conditions for bedding, size, material, etc. Condition number 2 from Public Works, town staff will require lot grading and drainage plan demonstrating that stormwater runoff will not negatively impact nor rely upon neighboring properties. And the final condition from Public Works is that town staff will require an erosion and sediment control plan demonstrating no inherent detrimental side effects from the residential construction that will occur or affect any creeks, lakes, adjacent lands, or storm sewer systems. All sediment control measures being instituted shall be shown on the plan. And back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And is somebody speaking to the application tonight? Mr. Skilstra? Yeah. Sorry, I should have reminded you. Can we get your name and address for the record?
Yes, Phil Skilstra, 4405 Bethesda Road, Beamsville, or Lincoln. Thank you for having me. So we are planning to demolish and reconstruct a two-story dwelling, and I'm the agent for Aaron and Sherry Tanaka. So the minor variances you've heard that we're asking for, while they sound like a lot, we just really feel like it's going to positively affect the Grimsby Beach area and the surrounding properties, just due to like the current house is 46.6% lot coverage. The new house and garage are 40.6%. All the current setbacks from the property lines to the current house are all closer to the property line than what we're applying. So we are increasing the setbacks on all the sides that we're applying for a variance. And then with that additional space to the property lines, that also allows us more room to do grading properly and drainage so that the other neighboring properties are even better off. Yes, we worked through the heritage impact assessment, and that went well with them being in favor of our application and with the visual of the house in the Grimsby Beach area. And yeah, that's pretty much it that I have.
Thank you. We'll just have you stay there for a sec, just in case there's questions. Any questions from the committee members? No? Does anyone in the audience wish to speak to this matter? Or I assume you're on the agenda for the next item, so seeing none then, I'll call for a motion if we can. You don't have to reread the conditions, we read them once. If you just mentioned that you're okay with the conditions you've...
Yes, the conditions are very reasonable, yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I find it resolved that minor variance application A0224 for 2 6th Street to permit a maximum lot coverage of 41%, whereas 30% is permitted as per section 721, table 11 of zoning bylaw 1445 as amended. To permit a minimum interior side yard of 1.21 meters for the south interior side yard, whereas 1.8 meters is required as per section 721, table 11 of zoning bylaw 1445 as amended. To permit a minimum rear yard setback of 1.28 meters, whereas minimum rear yard setback of 3.825 meters, 25% of the lot depth is required as per section 721, table 11 of zoning bylaw 1445 as amended. To permit a yard encroachment of unenclosed covered porch of 1 meter into the north interior side yard, whereas unenclosed covered porches may project into any required interior side yard of not more than 0 meters as per section 4.9C of zoning bylaw 1445 as amended. I recommend it be approved with conditions, and they are the 4 conditions that was read out by the Secretary Treasurer.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder on that, Fabia? Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye or raise their hand. Opposed, if any? Was carried. So there is a 20-day appeal period before it becomes final and binding, as you probably know. All right, thank you for attending. Okay, the next application is A0924, number 1 Nellis Road North. Dahara?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, so the purpose of this application is to renovate a basement for use as a secondary suite and to permit a secondary suite solely within a cellar, whereas as a secondary suite is not permitted solely within a cellar. This is an image of the site plan, which was circulated along with the notice. An image of the neighborhood for context. These are the current conditions on site. And these are the agencies that provided comments. I will summarize those for you now. Planning staff are supportive of the application. It meets the intent of the official plan and the zoning bylaw. It is desirable for the development of the land and it's considered minor in nature, provided that the condition is met. The condition is that the existing plans are revised to demonstrate that 2 parking spaces for the existing dwelling unit and 1 parking space for the proposed secondary suite are provided as required in Table 3, Section 5 of Zoning Bylaw 1445. Public Works has 1 comment and no conditions. The comment is that Public Works notes that no additional water or sanitary service connections within town right-of-way will be permitted. All water and sanitary needs shall be met through existing services for the proposed secondary suite. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Is the owner or the representative here? I'd like to come forward, just maybe elaborate on the application.
All right. Alan Beals, 1580 Regional Road 56, Hannon.
Did you wish to outline or add anything or elaborate on the application?
Not really.
No?
It's just pretty basic.
Any questions from the committee member? Pretty easy ride tonight.
Mr. Chair.
Dylan, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to know if the applicant it was okay with the condition about parking, because in that area, I understand why that would be added. So I just want to make sure that we're aware of that.
Yes. I've talked to the homeowners about it.
Okay. Thanks for that, Dylan. Any other questions? Is there anyone in the audience wish to speak to this one? None as well? All right. Mover and a seconder? Adam? Seconder? Dylan? Yeah. He's going to read it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the motion would be resolved that minor variance application A09-24 for 1 Nellis Road North to permit a secondary suite solely within a cellar, whereas a secondary suite is not permitted solely within a cellar per section 4.19D in the zoning bylaw 1445 as amended, be approved with the 1 condition that was outlined previously. And the reasons for the decision is it meets the 4 tests of a minor variance.
Thank you. We had a seconder. So any further discussion on the motion as read with the conditions? If not, then all those in favor say aye or raise their hand. Opposed, if any, was carried. So again, there's a 20-day appeal period before it becomes final. Thank you for attending. And then the last application this evening is minor variance A10-24 at number 431 Murray Street. O'Hara?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, so the purpose of this application is to construct an addition to the side of the dwelling for an attached garage and to construct an addition to the front of the dwelling, to permit a minimum interior side yard of 0.8 meters, whereas 1.8 meters is permitted, to permit a minimum front yard of 6.8 meters, whereas 7.77 meters as existing is required, and to permit an eaves projection of 0.51 meters into the required yard, whereas the projection of half the required yard, that is the 0.43 meters, is permitted. This is an image of the site plan, which was circulated along with the notice. An image of the neighborhood for context. These are the current conditions on site. And these are the agencies that provided comments, which I will now summarize. Planning staff are supportive of the application. It meets the 4 tests. They note that the proposed plans submitted with the application do not illustrate gutters, and it is unclear if this has been considered at this time. Staff reiterate that the requested variance to 4.9B will be inclusive of both the eaves and the gutters. Public Works has 1 comment. Public Works staff notes the swale within the 0.8 meter setback may be challenging to design or construct due to the constraints. The typical standard for a swale is 0.9 meters in width. However, this will still need to be approved through the lot grading and drainage plan requirement. They also have two conditions, and one of them is that they will require lot grading and drainage plan demonstrating the existing drainage patterns for the lot and at a minimum 5 meters beyond property line. The location and direction for all proposed downspout discharge points shall be shown on the plan. And condition number 2 is the projection of the proposed eaves shall not encroach onto any neighboring properties. All stormwater runoff shall be contained within the respective lot and shall not negatively impact nor rely upon neighboring properties. A swale shall be created within the 0.8 meter setback from side yard property line adjacent to the proposed garage to assist with containing the stormwater runoff and the eaves. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. You're speaking to this application, I presume? No? Oh, all right. Oh. Is anybody speaking to this application? Is it Maggie?
Maggie?
Maggie? All right. Do you know who the contact was on this? Yeah. Alan Diaz? Agent, it's an agent's name. Yeah, because I think it's a corporation that owns it. Schroeder, yeah. But I don't know who Maggie Zong is, so. No. Alan Diaz is shown as the agent, but did you wish to speak to this application? No? Committee members' questions? I guess I have a question about, maybe for Walter, about the eaves projection. So they're going 0.8 meters to the wall and then another 0.5 or 0.3 in. Is it the reverse? Did I read that right? Permit 0.5, so they're going to be 0.3 away, effectively, rounding. But you had a concern with that from your comments.
Yeah, through you, Chair, the only concern we had is that none of their drawings identified gutters, and they'll need to provide gutters. And so they'll need to modify the plans, assuming this setback is approved. The plans will have to be revised to incorporate gutters into the setback. So the eaves will have to project less, essentially, to accommodate the few inches for the gutters, yeah.
Any other questions from the committee?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, my comment was just, just around the sort of 0.8 with some of the drainage, and also it's, quite tight, on that side. So I guess, sort of I'm thinking of access and things like that, and as well as water, but I know that town staff is certainly going to address that with the site plan and the condition. It just seems awfully tight to me. And then I guess for access, there's always, I guess, the other side of the dwelling. So, I just wanted to sort of, I'm assuming it's designed like that just in order for the garage to be the correct width for a vehicle. So that's what I would have asked the applicant, because and I'm also was wondering too, I would ask the applicant if they had, if there was any comments from their neighbor, because it's that side setback is rather close, I would say.
Walter, you wish to respond?
Yeah, I did speak to the neighbor, through you, Chair. I did speak to the neighbor, not the neighbor, the neighbor's father, earlier today.
Any questions or comments?
We gave contact information. We answered all his questions and suggested that if he had any concerns, he has an opportunity to. I think Dilara provided a link to the meeting. He's probably watching right now. He indicated that he would. So, but that he had an opportunity to voice any concerns. He didn't voice any concerns to me. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions from the committee? There's no one else in the audience wishing to speak to this matter, so we've asked already twice. All right, what's your pleasure, committee?
I don't know, through you, Mr. Chair, I'm always sort of nervous to, approve something without them here. I mean, perhaps it's, my questions would be minor, and we do have staff's recommendations, so, likely this would be approved depending on what others think, but I'm always a little leery to approve something without the applicant here. Just my comments.
So noted. Dan?
I'll move. And see if I get seconded. I find it resolved that minor variance application A1024 for 431 Murray Street to permit a minimum interior side yard of 0.8, whereas 1.8 meters is required, as per section 7, table 11 in zoning bylaw 1445 as amended. To permit a minimum front yard of 6.8 meters, whereas 7.77 meters as existing is required as per section 7, table 11 in zoning bylaw 1445 as amended, and to permit an eaves projection of 0.51 meters into the required yard, whereas a projection of half the required yard, 0.43, is permitted as per section 4.9 in zoning bylaw 1445 as amended, be approved because it meets the 4 conditions, and it has 2 conditions that were read out already by the Secretary Treasurer.
Seconder on that motion? Adam? Thank you. Any further discussion on this matter? All those in favor say aye or raise their hand. Opposed, if any? Carried. Sorry. That was an easy ride for everybody, including the owner who didn't even have to show up. Okay, that's the agenda for this evening, other than the other business, which is with respect to the chair, vice chair positions. Delhara, did you wish to comment on that or present anything? Do we have anything?
No.
So we suggested that at the beginning of this term that we would allow the opportunity for other people to put their names forward. So I'm willing to step down after this first year, and anybody else wants to sit in the chair seat, please feel free to nominate yourself if no one else is going to nominate you. If we don't hear from anybody, then I'll do it for another few months until we try again.
Mr. Chair, I so nominate Adam Buttershead for the position.
Sorry, Fabi had a question first, sorry.
Sorry, Dylan. My question is, are you recommending you step down for the term of a year or just for a few months and someone take over?
I would say a year. I think will give that person, there's potentially maybe 10 meetings, maybe 12 max.
Okay.
But I'm willing to step down for a year or more if other people want to step out. The idea is to get other people trained in the position and allow them the opportunity to lead the committee, so.
Okay, I think that's a good idea. I think it's a good way to go.
So back to you, Dylan. You're nominating Adam, a seconder? Fabia? Any further discussion? I guess if we have multiple.
Does Adam accept?
Yeah. Does Adam accept?
Yes, I accept the nomination.
Thank you. Any other nominations? Maybe we'll have a vote off. First past the post. There being none, then we'll nominate, or we'll vote on that first, and then we'll go for vice chair. So all those in favor of having Adam sit in the chair's position for a term of 1 year, I guess, before, yeah? All those in favor say yes? Yes. Or raise their hand, or aye. Opposed, if any? It was carried. And then for vice chair, any nominations?
Yeah, I'll nominate myself, if that's okay.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? For a year, I guess, as well, yeah? All those in favor to have Dan sit as vice chair for the year, say aye or raise their hand. Opposed, if any? Was carried. Any other positions up for Secretary Treasurer, planner, head planner maybe?
I'll take that one.
All right, so starting next meeting, I guess, we'll have a new chair and vice chair. All right, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin, for all your service as being chair for the past year. You've done a fantastic job.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yes. Oh, sorry, I was just going to say, I think you probably have one of the longest tenures in Ontario of any chairman.
Did you Google it?
No, I didn't. Maybe I will later. But so I definitely have big shoes to fill.
That was a pleasure. I enjoyed it. So, and I'm not leaving the committee, at least for the term of council. So I'll be here to support you guys and look forward to it. Hopefully the next one isn't too tough, your first one. So there being no further business, do I have a mover and a seconder for the adjournment of the meeting? Move and second. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed, if any, was carried. So we'll see you next month.
Recording stopped.